I own a small garage in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado. Nothing fancy, just 3 bays where I fix cars and serve my community. My name is Wayne, and for 28 years I thought I knew what family meant. Then my brother Bradley called me after 2 years of silence. His voice sounded different, strained, like he was carrying a weight he could not share. I had this sinking feeling in my gut, the kind that tells you everything is about to change. I had no idea that call would turn my entire world upside down. Before we dive into what happened next, drop a comment below and let me know where you are watching from. Hit that like button and subscribe because you will want to see how a simple mechanic taught a Silicon Valley hotshot the real meaning of success. Trust me, this journey gets intense. Miller's Auto Repair sits on the corner of 5th and Maple, a small brick building with a faded sign that my grandfather painted back in 1976. The place is not much to look at. 3 bays, oil-stained concrete floors, and the perpetual smell of gasoline and brake fluid that I have grown to love. I inherited this garage when Grandpa Miller passed away 6 years ago, and it has been my entire world ever since. I have 2 employees. Jorge is a 62-year-old mechanic who has been working on cars longer than I have been alive. He is from Guadalajara, came to America in his 20s, and knows more about engines than anyone I have ever met. Then there is Caleb, a 19-year-old kid learning the trade, eager and clumsy, but improving every day. Together we pull in about $70,000 a year. Not enough to make me rich, but enough to pay the bills, keep my employees happy, and still have something left over for myself. I live in a 1-bedroom apartment about 3 miles from the garage. I drive a 2014 Ford F-150 that I bought used and fixed up myself. My life is simple, predictable, and honest. Every morning I wake up at 6:30, grab coffee from the diner next door, and open the garage by 7:30. I know most of my customers by name. Old Mrs. Patterson brings her Buick in every 3 months like clockwork. Danny Rodriguez trusts me with his work van. The Hendersons always ask for me specifically when their Suburban acts up. This is what I do. This is who I am. And I have never apologized for it. Growing up, Bradley and I were close. He is 4 years older than me, and when we were kids, we did everything together. We played basketball in the driveway, built model airplanes in the garage, with Grandpa stayed up late watching action movies our parents told us we were too young for. Bradley was my hero back then. He was smart, confident, and everyone said he was going places. When Bradley got accepted to Stanford for computer science, our parents threw a huge party. I was 14. Still figuring out what I wanted to do with my life. I remember Mom crying happy tears, Dad calling all his friends to brag, relatives showing up with gifts and congratulations. It felt like Bradley had won the lottery. I took a different path. After high school, I enrolled in a 2-year program at community college for automotive technology. Grandpa had been teaching me about cars since I was 10, and I loved it. The logic of engines, the satisfaction of diagnosing a problem and fixing it with my own hands. When Grandpa got sick during my 2nd year, I spent every free moment at the garage learning everything he could teach me. When he passed, he left Miller's Auto Repair to me in his will. Bradley got a cash inheritance, about $50,000. I got the garage. That is when things started to shift in my family. Mom and Dad never said it directly, but I could feel their disappointment. At family dinners, they would ask Bradley about his job at some tech company, about his apartment in San Francisco, about his plans to start his own business. When they asked me about work, it was always brief, polite, like they were checking a box. "How is the garage, Wayne, good Mom?" Then the conversation would swing right back to Bradley. I told myself it did not bother me. I had my work, my customers, my life. But deep down I felt it. The subtle dismissal. The quiet belief that I had settled for less. That Thursday evening in late September, I was closing up the garage when my phone rang. I did not recognize the number at first, but when I answered, Bradley's voice came through, bright and energetic. "Wayne, man, it has been too long. How are you doing?" I was surprised. We had not talked in almost 2 years. The last time was an awkward phone call on my birthday where he promised to visit and never did. "I am good, Bradley. Busy with the garage. How about you, dude? Things are incredible. I just closed our Series B funding round. $12 million. Can you believe it? Next Tech Solutions is officially taking off? He sounded genuinely excited, and for a moment I felt happy for him. My big brother making his dreams come true. That is amazing, man. Congratulations. Listen, I am throwing a party this weekend in San Francisco to celebrate. Investors, partners, the whole crew. I want you there, Wayne. Fly out Friday night. I will cover your ticket. We need to catch up. I hesitated. I had work and spontaneous trips were not really my thing, but this was Bradley reaching out, wanting me to be part of his success. Maybe he was trying to reconnect. Yeah, okay. I will make it work. Perfect, I will text you the details. See you Friday, little brother. Friday evening I landed at San Francisco International Airport. Bradley picked me up in a brand new Tesla Model S pearl white with cream leather interior. He looked good. Tailored blazer, designer jeans, expensive watch. He gave me a quick hug and we headed to his office downtown. The Next Tech building was sleek and modern, all glass and steel. The elevator opened onto the 10th floor and I stepped into a space that looked like something out of a magazine. Exposed brick walls, standing desks, a ping-pong table, a fully stocked bar area. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a stunning view of the Golden Gate Bridge lit up against the evening sky. The party was already underway. About 50 people mingled around, holding craft cocktails and talking in clusters. Everyone looked successful. Stylish clothes, confident body language, animated conversations about markets and disruption and scaling. Bradley introduced me to a few people. This is my little brother, Wayne. He fixes cars back in Colorado. The way he said it made me pause. Not proud, not warm, just factual, with a slight edge of condescension. One of his friends, a guy named Trevor in a black turtleneck, shook my hand. Oh, cool man. Automotive industry, I own a small garage. We do repairs, maintenance, that kind of thing. Nice, nice. Keeping it old school. Bradley jumped in. Yeah, Wayne is keeping it real, doing the blue-collar thing. Someone has got to do it right. A few people laughed. Not mean laughter, but the kind that comes when someone makes a joke that lands just slightly wrong. I forced a smile, but something twisted in my chest. The rest of the night felt off. Every time Bradley mentioned me, there was that same tone. Dismissive, patronizing, like I was a novelty, a reminder of a simpler, lesser world he had left behind. I flew back to Denver on Sunday morning. The whole flight I kept replaying those moments in my head. Maybe I was being too sensitive. Maybe Bradley was just nervous, trying to impress his friends. Maybe I was reading into things that were not there. But the feeling stuck with me. A small, nagging doubt. When did my brother start looking down on me? 6 months passed. I did not hear from Bradley. Not a call, not a text, nothing. I threw myself into work. We had a busy winter with people needing snow tire changes and engine tune-ups. Jorge taught Caleb how to rebuild a transmission. I started dating a woman named Jenna, an elementary school teacher whose Honda I had fixed back in October. Life moved forward. Then one Tuesday afternoon in early March, Mom called. Wayne, honey, how are you? Her voice was tight, formal. Mom had a way of sounding warm even when she was upset, but this was different. Cold. I am good, Mom. What is up? I wanted to check in. See how things are going with the garage. Same as always. Business is steady. Jorge and I just hired another guy, actually. We are expanding a little. That is nice, dear. A pause. Have you talked to your brother recently? Not since last fall. Why? Oh, no reason. He just seems stressed with work lately. I thought maybe he had mentioned something to you. Is everything okay with him? I am sure it is fine. You know Bradley. Always working so hard. He just needs his family's support right now. The way she said it felt loaded, like there was something she was not telling me. Mom, if something is wrong, you can tell me. Everything is fine, Wayne. I should go. Talk soon. She hung up before I could say anything else. 3 weeks later, Mom called again. My birthday was coming up and she invited me to dinner at their house in Boulder. Bradley would be there too. It had been almost 2 years since we had all been together, so despite my reservations, I agreed. I drove the 3 hours to Boulder on a Saturday afternoon. My parents' house was in a nice neighborhood, a 2-story colonial with a manicured lawn and a 2-car garage. They had retired comfortably. Dad had worked in finance, Mom in real estate. They were not wealthy, but they were secure. Bradley's Tesla was already in the driveway when I pulled up. I walked in and Mom greeted me with a hug that felt perfunctory. Dad shook my hand without much warmth. Bradley sat in the living room, scrolling through his phone. When he saw me, he stood and gave me a quick, awkward hug. He looked different, thinner, dark circles under his eyes. His hair was longer, unkempt. The confidence I remembered from San Francisco was gone, replaced by something jittery and anxious. Dinner was tense. Mom had made pot roast, but no one seemed to have much of an appetite. The conversation was stilted. Dad asked me about the garage, but his tone was disinterested, like he was asking out of obligation. Mom kept steering the conversation back to Bradley. Bradley has been working on a new strategy for the company, she said brightly. Tell Wayne about the pivot, honey. Bradley pushed food around his plate. We are adjusting our market approach, focusing on enterprise clients instead of consumer. It is a smart move, but it takes time. Sounds like a good plan, I offered. Yeah, we will see. After dinner, Bradley asked if I wanted to step outside. We walked out onto the back deck. It was a clear night, stars scattered across the Colorado sky. Bradley leaned against the railing, staring out at the darkened yard. Wayne, I need to talk to you about something serious. Okay. He took a deep breath. Nextech is in trouble. We burned through the Series B funding faster than we anticipated. Our burn rate was too high, and we have not hit the revenue targets we promised investors. They are getting nervous. Some are threatening to pull out. I did not know what to say. I am sorry, man. That sounds really stressful. Stressful does not even cover it. If we do not raise more capital or cut costs drastically, we are looking at shutting down in 6 months. Maybe less. What are you going to do? I need $300,000. Just to keep us afloat, buy some time to turn things around. He turned to look at me. Wayne, I need your help. Can you take a loan out against the garage? My stomach dropped. Bradley, the garage is my livelihood. It is all I have. I cannot risk that. His jaw tightened. Of course you cannot. You are too small-minded to understand real business. You are happy being low-class, fixing cars for minimum-wage customers. Bradley, that is not fair. I make an honest living. There is nothing wrong with that. Keep telling yourself that, Wayne. While I am changing the world, you are just changing oil. You are playing it safe because you are scared. You have always been scared. I tried to stay calm. I am not scared. I am just not willing to gamble everything on something that might not work out. That is called being responsible. He laughed bitterly. Responsible. Right. Grandpa left you that garage because he knew you could not do anything else. He felt sorry for you. That hit me like a punch. That is not true. Is it not? Be honest with yourself, Wayne. You settled, and now you are too proud to admit it. We stood there in silence. Finally, I said quietly, I am not giving you money, Bradley. He turned and walked back inside without another word. I left shortly after. The drive back to Denver felt endless. I kept replaying the conversation, the venom in his voice, the contempt. This was not the brother I grew up with.